Hi everyone, welcome back to Ever the Star Wars Story, and today I'm talking about Omega from the Bad Batch, so let's go and jump right into it. First off, we know that Omega is one of two clones. Her and Boba are the only two clones that are genetically unaltered. They're made from Jango's pure genetic code that is unaltered. Her and Boba are the only two. So, we know that from the beginning of the Bad Batch that she didn't fit in. She says that to the Bad Batch whenever she sits down with them at the table, and we see that she was really excited to finally get to meet them in person. We know from later on in the season that she does know that they were made in Nala Se's personal lab before being sent off to be with the others. So she did know them at the time, but after they were sent off with the others, she didn't know where they were. So whenever she finally got to meet them again, she was super excited because they were different like her. They didn't fit in like her. And so I love seeing that. I love seeing how excited she was to finally get to see them again. That was really cool. And we see that immediately she wants to, these are people that don't fit in, these are her brothers that don't fit in like she does. They just don't fit in. And so she immediately wants to become friends with them. She wants to form an attachment with them. And so we see that whenever they're like, well, don't you have somewhere else to be? And she's like, no, I'll stay. I love seeing that. And I love seeing how, determined she was to go with them later on in that episode. Remember, she's like, well, then take me with you. And Hunter explains that he can't. It's too dangerous. They can't. It's too dangerous. But we see that she's very determined to go with them. And I also love it in that cafeteria scene. Whenever they start getting made fun of, what does Omega do? She immediately jumps to their protection and immediately starts the food fight, which I absolutely love. It fits Omega's character so much. She is a very brave character, which I absolutely love. I love how they did that. She does get scared by some things, but who doesn't? So I love seeing that. I love seeing how she's such a brave character. That was really cool to see. That's really cool to see, sorry. I absolutely love it. We know that also in season 1, we got to see a lot of Omega. We got to know a lot about her character. We got to meet a lot of her, we got to learn about a lot about her character. We got to learn that, we see that she learns, the concept of rules and how you can't break them, and how they're most of the time there for your safety, and how not everyone that seems friendly to you is your friend. With Finnick, we see that she blindly trusts Finnick, and Finnick tries to take her back to the Kaminoans. We see that, she learns a lot of different things. It's her first time being off Kamino. She doesn't know any other planet, so whenever she's first getting there, she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know all the rules of life. And so I love seeing the Bad Batch show her the different things. We see that Echo shows her how to use her bow whenever she gets it to keep her safe, to be able to defend herself, even though that would have been something Crosshair would have taught her, but Crosshair's not there. So Echo stepped up, which I thought was, really cool. I'm trying to think, there was this moment I was going to say, dang it. With Hunter, we see that Hunter I've talked about this in one of my other videos, we see that Hunter is trying to keep her safe by sending her with Cut and Sue, but she doesn't want to go because she left Kamino with them. She feels safe with them. She trusts them. She's barely met Cut and Sue. Yes, she's gotten to know them, but she barely knows them. And yes, she doesn't know the Bad Batch a whole lot yet, but she does know them more than she knows Cut and Sue, and so she feels safe with them. She left Kamino with them, and I love seeing that. That was, really cool to see. And I also love seeing how much of Omega's kind-heartedness comes out. How kind-hearted she is to everyone she meets. Or every creature she meets. Whenever they're stuck on that moon after falling out of hyperspace, we see that whenever that space dragon that they need to follow, we see that instead of hurting it, she gives the dragon her flashlight. And he takes the electricity from that, and she easily gets the part. We see, instead of hurting it like she could have, she was very kind-hearted about it, and instead gave up her flashlight so that way the creature could get the electricity that it was wanting, and she could get the part that they needed. I love seeing that about Omega. That was really cool to see, and I love it. And I also really love to see how caring she is for her brothers. We see that she's willing to do anything for her brothers. For Hunter, we see that in the end of season 3 that even though she's going back to a place that she doesn't want to go back to, she pushes those emotions aside, knowing that they could cause problems on the mission, and cause problems for them getting to Hunter. So she pushes them aside and knows that the main goal is to get to Hunter, to get him out safely. We see that she's willing to push down her own emotions to keep her brothers safe, to get the mission complete. I love seeing that. Or with Tech, we see that she is she's in so much disbelief whenever she's in so much disbelief whenever Tech has passed away already. We see that she wants to go back for them. She wants to go back for him. She wants to know that he's there. She wants to go back to make sure he's okay. They can maybe get him. We know that later on she does accept it, but we know like right then we see how caring she is of her brothers, which I absolutely love that moment. It's such a touching moment. It's a sad moment, don't get me wrong, but it's also really touching, which I love. I love seeing her be like that. I love seeing that. And we see that later on in life, whenever she's going off to fight for the rebellion, she uses the skills that Tech taught her how to fly, and she goes and flies for the rebellion. Like, it's so cool. I love seeing how, all the different skills that throughout time the Bad Batch has taught her. I love seeing that she uses them throughout her entire life. Like, it's really cool. It's super cool. And like, we see that she's very caring about other people too. Like, she always puts them first. She puts them first as much as she can. Like on Pabu, whenever CX2 and the other troopers arrived, and the other K2 and stormtroopers arrived, we see that immediately she is trying to figure out a way to stop this. And we know that she finally figures out the only way to stop this is for her to go back to Tantus. As much as she doesn't want to go back there, she also knows that if she doesn't, they're going to destroy her home. They're going to destroy innocent people's homes and their families for no reason. So she turns herself in. And she also knows that this may be the only way to get those clones out, which I love seeing. I love seeing how she's so determined to get them out, that she's like not wanting her home to be destroyed. She's not wanting the people that live on Pabu to get hurt. She knows that this might be the only chance they get to go back to Tantus and to figure out a way to get the clones out. Like, I absolutely love that. And I also love seeing, like, through season 3, we know that Crosshair got a very big, we got to see a lot of his character. We got to know a lot more about his character. And he had, it was so cool. And I really enjoyed that. And I really love seeing, like, how close him and Omega got. Like, that was really cool seeing. But we also get to see how smart Omega is. Like, we see, like, in season 2, I love how they threw this in there like a normal kid would. She doesn't want to do her studies. I loved seeing that. I love how they threw that in there. Like, not every kid always wants to do their studies, and I love how they threw that in there. And we see how smart she is, though, too. Like, with Hemlock and all that, whenever she is trying to figure out a way to get out of his grasp, and this is, like, right before he and falls. And so we see that, the way that she thinks of it, she has that tool that she's been keeping in her arm for so long, and she used this tool because she figured out a way to get into the, hatchways, that got them to the Zillo Beast, and she was, like, able to get all the kids out, which I love seeing. And that's another thing that we see, that she's, like, super smart. Like, she's really smart. She's able to figure out a way to break out of Tantus twice, which I thought was, like, really cool. And so she uses that little piece, and she stabs Hemlock in the thigh, and it gives just enough room for, Crosshair to get the shot that he needs, so that way Omega can get freed and Hemlock can go bye-bye. And I loved seeing that. I love seeing, like, her just being so, like, smart, kind-hearted. Like, she's just such an amazing character, and I'm just so happy that, like, Omega is just such an amazing character. And I was super sad whenever the Bad Batch ended, because I'm like, oh my word, no! Like, the Bad Batch is my third favorite show. My first is Rebels, second is Clone Wars, third is Bad Batch, and I was super sad whenever it ended, but at the same time, I was like, it was a really good ending, and I really do hope to see Omega in a live-action form at some point, maybe in the second season of the Ahsoka series. That'd be really cool. But yeah, that's all I have to talk about with Omega. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. Bye, guys.